Hammer Dahn.
How many years you been out in Vegas?
I've been in Vegas. This is year number 18 in books. I actually started, I left Pittsburgh back in 97 to go to Curacao and learn the offshore sportsbook business there. So that winter got me, brother. I left and took a shot, and I got a PhD in the business, and then I moved back to Pittsburgh.
How do you go to Curacao? How do you find out that like Curacao is the place to go to an offshore sportsbook to learn the ways?
Well, you know how things are at home. A lot of people do this back in Pittsburgh, and
well, there you go.
Guy knows a guy, and the guy said to a guy, I got a guy, and I was the guy, and I went, and one thing led to another. I've been in sports books since. I took a little stint off when I was in Arizona, and then I moved to Vegas in 2003, and I've been working in sports books for a very long time until now. I'm going this media route like you. Just trying to keep up. I don't have a beard, though. You guys, the beard game on the Hammer Dahn show is I can't even compete.
It's undefeated.
You live right on the Strip, Dave, or where are you at in Vegas, pal?
Oh, Gump. Man, that's a rookie question, Gump. No one lives on the Strip, boys. That's where everyone comes to stay. No, I live up in the northwest part of town. It's wonderful, on the way to Kyle Canyon and Mount Charleston. So I'm a little bit removed from the Strip. I mean, 25 minutes away, right down there in the heat of it. So, but it's expanded, and like this whole sports betting thing has made it expand even more.
Mm-hmm. Dave, so since you've been in the book so long, and we have a lot of new listeners, we always get questions about just gambling in general. If you were to talk to a new gambler, like what's some advice you would tell them as far as gambling, worst things to do, best things to do? Like what's the advice that you'd give a new gambler?
So I've been having this question posed to me literally for almost 2 decades. Someone comes to the counter and says, hey, man, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. So you got to simplify everything. I mean, when you come up to the board in a book in Vegas or in, now anywhere in Indiana, you guys got them,
mm-hmm.
It's very confusing. So I tell people to specialize, narrow your focus a little bit. Be like Gump and focus on the footy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sometimes you guys get a little crazy with them parlays. I don't know if I would recommend doing them parlays.
Definitely not.
You guys are a little more advanced than the regular crew, but I think it's specialize on a sport and understand all of the bets before you make them. So if you're betting point spread, just ask. If you're betting money line, just ask. Over, under, same thing. But kind of keep that focus and then specialize into props and golf betting and footy and, first period overs, first 5 unders. You guys, I can't believe this first 5 under your run you're on. But before you get into all that, just kind of understand the general part of it. And like FanDuel does a great job with it. There's so many parts of sites now that have a glossary.
Yeah.
Learn the term and then ask. I mean, I used to say it all the time. I got asked the same question maybe every day for 15 years straight at the counter. I mean, it's the first time for you, so don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid to ask. There are no dumb questions except if you're, going to ask, are the Pirates going to win today? That's not a good question.
That's not a good question. So what, you don't like the first 5s?
No, listen. You guys are onto this. This first 5 market is the sharpest market there is. Maybe in sports betting in the 4 major sports. Sharp guys have been playing this for years, fellas. Like
mm-hmm.
this is what they do. They have been doing this, and now you guys are on it, and everybody's on it. I mean, the bullpen sweat, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It literally it brings pain when you have a lead in the 7th or the 8th, lead off walk. A double in the gap, and before you know it, it's a 3-run bomb, and you're losing. So, no, the first 5s are the way to go, but the prices are being adjusted.
Yeah,
they are.
You never used to see a 3.5.
No.
Now you're seeing 3.5s with juice under or 3s. So, baseball's changing. It's not like it was, back in the, my early days of We Are Family in 1979 when the Pirates won the World Series.
The 3.5s are scary as fuck. Gumpy, go ahead.
I stay away from NBA because I can't get a grip on. That's the one, I love college basketball. NBA isn't for me. What's the most bet on sport that you typically see, or the most bet?
So I mean, typically, Gump, it's probably, if you were to do a percentage, football 60% of the handle, basketball, college and pro combined is probably 25% or so, 20 to 25%. And then you got the rest, which hockey's getting more popular. I mean, it just is. It's, I don't know if it's just not a better game, but it's more bettable.
Yeah.
And then baseball's as old as time, and baseball betting is as old as time. It's just the games are too long. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of young people that just don't want to be invested in a game for that long. That's why bets like in baseball, you know, this first inning, yes, no. I mean, you can just bet the first inning where there's going to be a run or not. That's what people like. So that's kind of the breakdown. I mean, football is still king, and it always will be, just because it lends itself to one day a week. You know, college pretty much has Saturday on lockdown. Pro has Sunday, Monday on lockdown with the Thursday. And the rest of the sports, man, with it being every day, it just is hard to keep that grind. I mean, you guys are doing a show now 5 days a week. It's grinding. You're working. It's fun, but it's grinding.
Yeah, it is. And like, so we get up early and we look at the lines, and sometimes they're not out and stuff like that. How has the line making game changed? Like, I assume back in the day when you busted in, there was a guy who was making the line for a sports book at each sports book, and maybe sports books were cheating off each other. Is it moved to more of a computer thing where the lines come out? Like, is there a Watson for sports betting for making lines? How's that changed?
It's probably one of the reasons why I steered myself into going into the media. It's changed completely. It used to be done, you know, back in the day down in the islands. I mean, guys we were doing it just almost on the back of napkins. I mean, it was just something that we did, and we just kind of learned it and did it. And, you know, as Vegas had a hold on everything for a long, long time until Passport was passed, it was done kind of the same way. The offshore guys were doing it, and now it is automated. You can't offer all of the things that are offered every day manually. You can't do it. So now it's all automated, and like you were talking about the overnight lines, Gump, like the baseball lines, that may be one bet or maybe two bets to move, you know, the Padres' first five from minus 140 to minus 200.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's just so fast. Everything is so fast. It's almost like what happened with the market, right? There used to be guys holding up tickets in trading on the New York Stock Exchange floor. Now everything's automated. Well, betting is all automated. It's all right there on your phone. Lines making had to become automated too, and the game has changed, man. But it's changing for the better, I think, for the better, because we have more options, and you can kind of pick, you know, pick the soft spots. Like, you know, find your areas, go to the K props, go to the first fives in baseball, and you don't have to go with what was offered, because now everything's offered.
That's like with soccer, Dave. I mean, when these lines come out, like I have no problem hopping on Monday morning and picking games for the next weekend, because if you can get a team double chance at minus 140, by the time that game starts, they're minus 200 or higher.
And Dave, these lines, like you just said, these lines, like say one guy comes in and puts a $10,000 bet on Padres first five, and because the book has all that liability just on that one bet, the line's not moving because they think the Padres should be minus 200 versus minus 400. It's all about liability, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the days of subjective booking games is pretty much done. You don't see it much anymore. I mean, it's strictly moving on money. And listen, not that, you know, it's personal, Diggsy, but you could come in with the bag for 50 dimes and bet the Pirates today, and we may not move the line. If somebody comes in, or somebody running hot like Gumpy comes in and bets it for 2 dimes, which is the limit, you know, we've extended the limit to you because you're a player and you may make more bets, okay? But if Gumpy comes in and bets, you know, as hot as he is with these first fives or something, we may move it, you know, 15 cents just on his play. So you can't get trapped into, that's another good thing for the new people. Like, you can't get trapped into the line moving, well, that's the right side. If you're not the guy sitting in the chair, or you know the guy sitting in the chair, or like, you know, you don't know why the line moves. I mean, the line may actually move to try to get a bet on the other side because, you know, there may be a 10-team parlay that you guys put in that's live to the other side, and they got to get a bet to knock down the liability. There could be a myriad of reasons why the line moves or doesn't move. And I think rookie handicappers go, oh, well, this line went from 230 to 250. That's got to be the right side. I mean, it ain't. I've seen a lot of right side bets or
Yeah.
closing line movement lose too. So don't get caught up in that.
Dave, I'm not sure why you take a shot at me there. Modern day Billy Walters here. Go.
Yeah, especially with college basketball this year, Dave. Like
Yeah.
the line movement in that, and especially college football, means absolutely nothing.
No, I mean college basketball. This was one of the
absurd.
hardest years to book college basketball that I've ever seen, and I was really happy to not actually be sitting in a book and doing it, because the game has changed a little bit in the respect that you used to be able to get both sides of a bet. So if Duke was favored by 4 at NC State or whatever, and you moved the line to 5, there was a bad guy or somebody that came in and took the 5, and you could bounce it back and forth and just do the juice. Now with college basketball, the way it went, not only were they laying Duke -4, they were laying Duke -5, they were laying Duke -6. You had to go to 7 just to maybe get another bet, and then the books were had one of those seasons that were like a lot of deep breaths and big swings on these college basketball games. It was tough.
I agree with that in every single sport, except for, should we pay attention to the line moves at all, and far as the money is concerned with football at all? NFL?
No, man. NFL football is the hardest market to beat. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I mean, that is the toughest market to beat because there's so much money in it, and everybody has an opinion. Me, you, Gump, Nikki Skates, Pat, everybody. I mean, everybody has an opinion on the NFL. Even my wife and daughters who don't really even watch it that much or just watch the Steeler game, like they have an opinion. So with all that money in there, you can try to trace the line moves, but you really, like, another good thing to tell people to do is kind of do your own numbers. And it's hard. There's no particular process how to do it. You kind of just got to do it and learn how to do it. So take the blank schedule. It's really tough for baseball. I wouldn't recommend it for baseball, but take like week 1 NFL and leave it blank and write down your lines. Steelers are at home minus the Browns, -7. I don't even know who's playing, but it's probably -7. So that's where it starts. And then when it comes out, then you get closer, you see where you're at. So when you do that more and more, you can find your spots to make better plays. But they still got to win, brother. They still got to win.
Hey, speaking of making lines, we have a young sensei in here as far as as line making. Mitt, did you have any questions, pal?
Yeah, I have a couple questions actually. So why do different sports books have different lines? And they're all pretty similar, but is that just their own algorithm, or where does that really come from?
So Mitt, it's just like going to a store and there's a 60-inch TV, and Walmart has it for $800, and someone else has it for $700, and someone else has it for $750. Like, everybody's just trying to get their own little margin that they can on a particular game. Back in the day, it might be because there was a guy like me that said, hey, man, I think the Pirates are live today. Let's use the Padres lower and see what we can do with it. I don't think you're seeing that much anymore. And the other thing is that you can't be all the same lines. Like, if you're going to try to get bets, you kind of got to – you're supposed to get off the market a little bit, not be the same as everybody else. So that's a long answer to a short question, but it varies from sport to sport and from book to book just to keep trying to get more action.
What else you got, Mitt?
Lines are switching. When the lines are switching, if teams are players are getting off the questionable list, getting put on probable and stuff like that in football especially. How does that really change the line, if it does at all, or is that just the money coming in?
No, it doesn't have as much impact, I think, in football unless it's the quarterback. The NBA this year, boys, you really got to have a cast iron stomach or a really good Twitter feed with all the right information to bet the NBA. It is so tough right now. So, I mean, when LeBron was playing, and I know Foxy would bet on LeBron if he was playing, but when he's not playing, that line moves the most. When Embiid's not playing for the Sixers, that line is going to fly. So, if it's reported that he's not playing and he's going to play, it's going to move 3-4 points right away. And if he's reported to play and then not, you'll see the line crash against him 3 to 4 points. So it's not always money. And the NBA right now is an information game as much as pick and winners game. It is so hard. And, That's the one that it weighs the most. I mean, obviously the pitchers matter in baseball, but a lot of books did away with listed pitchers, and you just have action. And then the goalie in hockey, obviously. If you guys can find out that goalie information, Diggsy has my number. You guys let me know when the goalies are playing and when they're not, and we'll be able to do some work with that.
Dave, how's it going, pal?
Hey, Pat, what's up?
Hey, man, I want to let you know, you look like 3 to 4 of my uncles. When I was watching, I came out of a call, you were on the screen out here, and I was like, oh my God, is that guy related to me? I've enjoyed listening to you speak here, pal.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. You and I don't know if you remember, but you and I met at the counter at the Cosmo back in the day.
Where at?
And
The Cosmo when we were there for the Bud Light Busters.
Oh, what a time. What a time.
I was the guy at the counter that was giving you crap for not having your game numbers ready. And then I told you that you had my cousin for 11th grade history class back in Plum, and we whooped it up. And then some guy came through the casino and he was going to shoot everybody or something, and we all had to evacuate.
Oh, my God, I remember the shooting. This was for Portnoy's 40th birthday party. We were out there for the Bud Light Busters. We had to go out through the kitchen. We went out through the kitchen in the back because there was an active shooter. I remember that. Great to hear from you again. Happy you're on Hammered Down. You've been awesome. We appreciate the hell out of you. And happy we both survived that particular situation at Cosmo, both alcoholically and guns-wise.
Dave, where are you from? Green Tree?
Green Tree, PA. Keystone Oaks grad. Yes, sir.
Oh, man. It's great to chat with you, man. What
Did
a
you
legend.
hear? He was talking earlier about how many bookmakers there are in Pittsburgh, and I was like, yep.
Yeah, it's because all those goddamn Italians. Are you Italian?
Yeah, half Italian.
Yeah. See, that is one of the easiest things. As soon as you say what you're doing in bed, I mean, it's just, you're right. You're 100% right, pal. I appreciate you, man. Grazie, grazie.
You want a good bed, Koopy? Yeah, you can find a guy in Pittsburgh.